All right, welcome everyone. I'm here with Dyrus and the Odd One from Team Solo Mid after their win. Really nicely played, guys, and I have to say, from the very beginning, you really took the upper hand with that first blood by the blue buff. And one of my earliest memories is you counter jungling me over and over at blue buff. So how does that really change the game when you get not only the first blood, but also the counter jungle on the blue buff of your opponent?
It sort of sets a tone early game. Like as soon as we saw or didn't see any of them on the map, we realized if they're not doing their blue, which Special and Turtle checked, they're definitely doing our red. So as soon as we saw that, like I knew I had to go from my blue to their blue because we had more members down there. Because there's no point going for their red when they have 2 mid and 1 top, while we have 2 bottom and then 1 mid. So we have the number advantages there. So once that happened, we just slowly snowballed it and just took control because Sejuani is more reliant on blue than I am because I'm Elise. So basically from there, after the first blood, I just had an item lead, and then that allowed us to get dragons easy because I could easily get Spirit Stone boots and then later Spectral Wraith.
Is there a reason that you opted more for, you know, like objective control like dragons rather than spamming a whole bunch of ganks after you got that off?
What we really want to do is just mostly focus on objectives. Like we don't really care about kills unless it leads to a tower or something. It just happened that we were unable to really get anything done aside from defend towers and get towers and dragons. So we decided not to risk just going for kills there. So we just got all the dragons and then basically snowballed it from there.
Yeah, having Shen on your team makes it a lot easier to get those objectives. Dyrus, when you first picked that Shen, actually shocked Jat and a couple other people. How does that really change the game when you first pick a Shen?
It means that we're not making the same mistake as Season 1 when we're only trying to pick OP champions and we actually pick an actual comp. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes for TSM when it comes to picking and banning. And after yesterday, we figured most of it out. So there's not really any reasoning for it that I can provide that I would want to give away, but it's better now.
Okay, yeah, and you talked about you guys being a little bit down after a rough start. You guys really wanted to come out very strong, obviously. A lot, actually, of these older teams have had some struggles here in the beginning. How have you guys, you know, kept it together and come back strong?
I don't know if we really kept it together.
We definitely did not.
Did not?
Because yesterday, basically, we just need to get back into our groove because yesterday we had a few issues and then it just melted down, and then you saw that performance yesterday was very, very bad. So we just have to focus and just remember how we won the last split and just work from there, because or else you'll get games like yesterday, which was we just won't talk about anymore.
Well, can we talk about the aftermath of a game like that? After you come out of something like that where you guys are obviously disappointed, what kind of went down after the game was over and you went back to the hotel?
Well, I guess it's okay to say it. So after the game, we went into the lounge, and Expesh was like, come on guys, let's talk. And the whole point of this discussion was, why did we lose that game? And it was about picks and stuff, and it ended up being an argument between Expesh and Reggie for 2 hours. Usually we were all standing there, and then after half an hour, we kind of just walked away and let them talk it out. So however it got resolved, like it's fine now. So I don't know, if you want more input on that, you can ask them that yourself.
Okay. So some discussion went down. So that's a good way. You guys hashed it out. Another thing that Expesh and you have in common is you went to the All-Stars, though. Is there anything that you guys actually brought back and you've been able to implement already in the LCS from that experience?
He just walks
I love my jacket. Every time I walk by Autumn, I'm like, hey, you like my jacket? I cut in front of him, just like stand in front of him, walk with my jacket. For me and Expesh, I guess it's some nerves and a lot of confidence. So far, my performance coming back, like you're playing with a completely different team at All-Stars, so my play style was a little bit different. And like so far, you've seen me play tanks every game, and on All-Stars, sometimes I'd get like Kha'Zix or Rumble, or so it's not that much different. It's just I end up running TP a lot less or more, and Another thing was there's overconfidence. I came back and I look at everyone and I feel like I'm double lift for the day. So that's definitely not a good thing to have. It's not too much of a bad thing, but I don't want to go in and think that everyone else is bad. Like, I really, really think that every single other top laner is probably better than me right now because I'm in such like a slump. And like even that last game, you know, Psycho Sid beat me out. Even though Kennan's supposed to win out early, like I was down 20 CS and almost lost the tower early on, and that should never happen for someone like me who's been playing as long as I have.
Speaking of everyone else being bad, CLG versus Curse is coming up next, and those are two teams that also, you know, previously were up there with you guys in the top North American teams and now have been struggling. What are your predictions for the next match that's coming up?
I think Curse will win this one because CLG's having growing pains. Like everyone's not familiar with everything except like aside from like Link, who doesn't have to rely on anyone. Like Double F has to rely on Chester, who's getting back into his role, getting back to his old form. GG's in the jungle, and then Yen's top lane. So like it's really hard for CLG to play well when everyone is unfamiliar with what they're doing. So I think Curse will win, even though they just got new support, but Edward's fantastic, so I think a few of his hooks and he'll win the game.
All right, well, thank you both for the interview. That's going to do it for the Couch Lounge over here. Everybody's looking forward to this CLG and Curse game, but we actually have 5 more games. This is going to be a long day, guys, and before we really get into any of that, we're going to have Freak over on the Telestrator breaking down some of the best plays so far.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kobe. So let's break down one of the important team fights between Cloud9 and Coast. Now, the funny thing is Coast is running that jungle tank Fiddlesticks. And the way Fiddlesticks works is he kind of wants to start fights or at least counter engage. But what happens here is Fiddlesticks gets jumped on, which is the #1 thing you want to do against Fiddle. So Meteos, he's going to leapfrog himself up there. He's going to catch up to Fiddlesticks, and the entire team is going to focus down. Even though it's tank Fiddle, they're going to focus him down. Let's roll the clip out and watch the initiation. Meteos comes in, they get an Nintendude, and they focus everything on him. Every skill shot goes for Nintendude, and they pick him off right here. So let's pause. Because what the Coast team wants to do is run the Assassins and catch Sneaky. Shifter's coming down, Zion's coming down. It's going to work really well for them for that kill, but there's no follow-up left. Mashme and JJ have been off on the backside. They can't run through the Equalizer because it was beautifully placed by Balls, and there's nowhere left for the Coast team to go. So let's watch the team fight play out. Just run it, and you can see that, yeah, they get the quick kill onto the Ezreal, but it's going to be very easy for the rest of Cloud9 to chase them down. Zion Spartan's going to go down, and that team fight gave them the inhibitor. And that's just an amazingly well-played team fight by Cloud9, jumping on the right target, keeping him from channeling anything, and winning the team fight outright. That's how you win team fights when you got a Zach. Let's send it back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Freak Superman, and the replays. Okay, guys, earlier we asked you to let us know which player's performance has impressed you the most so far and why. And here's what you had to say.
So at EG Froggen says, I think I know that guy.
Maybe.
Meteos, because of 1 death in 3 matches while always being the first one to dive turrets. Also, his Zac ultimates are spot on. And we actually talked to him about that. It's just still a 1 death, and it's very impressive. It's the safe aggression that he called about.
Absolutely, keeping himself alive and safe. So the next one is Viztay. Edward's amazing plays in the Curse versus Cloud9 game really impressed me. This is the Edward the NAC needs.
And a lot of people were talking about how Edward may be kind of on another level early on. His roaming Blitzcrank was a little bit new and caught Cloud9 very off guard. It's just they weren't able to come through. I feel like also because Edward and St. Fish's got a few too many of the early game kills.
Absolutely. And one more. Looks like Anders MMO says, despite his absence yesterday, the play we've seen from Zion Spartan so far proves he's a major pillar of Coast's strength. And
oh, yeah.
Right.
We've seen that for a while, especially their run through the playoffs. Zion Spartan turned into a monster. He got on the Jace train before a lot of other people did, and he really showed people in North America how you play that champion. He was the first one to drop it.
You know, a lot of times when you see those big plays, it's on people that are willing to take chances, and the whole entire team of Coast is willing to do that.
Especially Zion Spartan, man. Top lane Fizz, sometimes the chances work. Jungle Leona, Tank Fiddlesticks, those guys. Risk takers.
Absolutely. Risk takers indeed.
Youngins.
Those were great, but we want more. I know I'm addicted to tweets. So hit us up on Twitter. We're at LOL Esports still. And remember to use the hashtag LCS. Don't forget. Now that the first 3 games of the day are in our match history, let's take a look at how they affected the standings so far. Cloud9 continued their dominance today and remain the only undefeated team in the league.
Tied for second place with 2-2 records are Team Coast, Dignitas, TSM, and Vulcan. In 6th place, it's another tie between CLG and Curse, while Velocity brings up the last spot in the standings at 1-3.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we still have 5 more matches to go today. Up first, CLG looks for their second win of the split when they take on Curse. Then Dignitas battles Team Coast. Vulcan then faces off against Counterlogic Gaming.
After that, TSM looks to build on their dominance when they take on Curse. And our final game of the week features Velocity and the undefeated Cloud9.
It's going to be an epic day of esports, so do yourself a favor. Don't go anywhere because there's still a ton of NALCS coming right up after this break.